Hi, everyone. It's Rita Desnoyers-Garcia of Becoming Awake and the Calm Mom Alliance, and I am overjoyed to introduce you to one of my friends and colleagues, Tina Blease. So Tina has been, for 19 years, Tina has been helping people to have a greener and healthier home. I know everyone is very environmentally conscious right now. That's one of the things I love about this generation is that they're very aware
Mhm.
of what is hurting us, what's harmful, what's toxic, and what is healthier and makes us happier. And so we decided to name this segment what products in your home could make you feel crappy, because we've talked about what foods can make you feel crappy. We talked about what thoughts can make you feel crappy and what beliefs can make you feel crappy. But now today we're going to focus on what are the products? What are we using in our homes every day that actually could be adding to that crappy feeling in your home with yourself, with your spouse, with your loved ones, with your kids? Because
Mhm.
so moms worry about the kids. So this conversation could really help take the burden off of you of all the guilt or whatever around, am I doing right by my kids with what I'm using in my home? So without further ado, Tina, thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you, Rita, for inviting me to this amazing group that you've created over time. You hit so many important points on life in general, and it is important to realize that we can be happy and have fun and be funny in this life. And I'm very happy that I can share what makes me happy in my home with your group of women and those who listen.
Awesome. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. We're going to get right to the point, which is um, how can what you use in your house make you feel crappy? Like, how does it even happen?
Well, it's interesting you asked that question first because maybe I'll just relate a little story that may help you understand how it makes you feel. So let's say, and this has happened to me many times, I go to a restaurant and it's a great restaurant. Everyone is really it has a great reputation, great food, it's affordable, and you're really excited about going. And that's happened to me many times. But then I go to the bathroom and I walk in and I get this whiff, this big whiff of Clorox or Pine Sol or some other Lysol, some kind of disinfectant. And it's like, oh, that immediately changes my mood. And for myself, when I get too much of a fragrance or smell of that, it leads me immediately to a migraine.
Yeah, wow.
I
Yeah.
know. So, my question to your group here is, has that ever happened to you? So now let's turn that into your home. As moms, we're responsible for keeping our counters clean, and no germs, botulism, all that kind of fun stuff. And so we may be using what our mothers used, and that was me as well: Clorox, Lysol, Ajax, Pine Sol, and it never made me feel good. You're in the bathroom cleaning, and what do? Even in the middle of winter, we open all the windows.
Yeah.
Some women wear masks,
Yeah.
gloves, because they're so sensitive to the fragrances, and if even the liquid gets on their hands, there could be rashes and burning. So with that being said, why are we using these kinds of products? I have to say it's because my mom used them, and
Yeah.
I'm here,
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean it's right. Another really quick story is as I was walking down the laundry detergent aisles in the grocery store, and how I'm running to the end really quick so I can get my laundry detergent and put it in my basket. Heaven forbid they've moved them. That's happened to
Right.
me several times. Like, oh, where's my Arm and Hammer? Because I thought that was the most natural at the time laundry detergent, and they moved it to another aisle, or it's like I cannot be in this aisle that long because if I do, I'll get a migraine.
Yeah.
So I hope maybe this kind of brings up some situations that you're, you know, dealing with. And so then we relate it to your children.
Yeah.
If they're coming home and they're inhaling fumes, they don't realize that it might be why and you may not realize why they may be overacting or just not comfortable in the house and you're telling them to be quiet. And it could be that they have a migraine. Sometimes
Yeah.
fragrances will also cause an upset stomach, but
Wow.
they don't have the ability to say, Mom, that smell is not making me feel good.
Right. Right. They may not even put it together because it's what they go in the house, they just don't feel good. And then so let me ask you real quick, just so that moms can understand what would be, so would you say migraine is a symptom, irritability, stomach ache? What are the other crappy symptoms that you, just to kind of flesh out, what would
Yeah,
moms be looking for that maybe, hey, it could be the products in my home?
just bad behavior, you
Okay.
know, your personal inability to be patient, your child, your
Mm.
husband coming home. And it may not be smells that you can really smell. It could just be the fumes that are outgassing from everything in your bathroom,
Right.
cabinets in your kitchen, the cabinets in your laundry room. So other symptoms are rashes. Some don't realize that when we inhale something, the way that our body tries to detox is through rashes.
Wow.
And then when we go, we take our child or we go to the doctor's like, this rash hasn't been going away. They give you steroidal creams because
Right.
they don't ask you about, well,
Right.
what is the environment that you live in at home that could be possibly
Yeah.
irritating your system?
Yeah.
Um, so it's rashes, it's asthma, allergies.
Mhm.
There's all these symptoms that we could get simply by our home environment that we think it's caused by something else. Allergies. Oh, well, it's spring, when it could be what
Right.
you're breathing in your home.
Right. Well, that just reminds me when you said the perfumes or the smells that you're smelling and then how it can turn into rashes. My dermatologist has a strict no fragrance boundary. Like you can't go in there with fragrance. And I was like, just someone in the office a little, you know, like sensitive to that. And I'm like, oh, maybe he knows.
Mhm.
Not good for your skin. Like,
Yeah.
so that gives me hope for
Yeah,
my
that does. Yeah.
dermatologist.
Mhm.
So okay, so we know it could be the products. We know maybe some of the symptoms. What are the products that you're talking about? Is it just what you're putting down the toilet? Is it what you're spraying on your countertop? Give me an example of some products that the culprits could be.
Okay, but I'd like to define fragrance. I think
Okay.
there's two types of fragrances. One is synthetic, and I like to describe that as fragrances that are created in a petri dish in a laboratory.
Right.
Okay. And then the other fragrance are natural fragrances, like the smell of a rose when you smell a rose, the smell of, oh, well, anything that you smell that's natural. Now, out of those two types of fragrances, the synthetic one is what our bodies don't understand, it can't relate to, and that's why we have these reactions. Whereas if it's a natural smell, I mean, you can have a manure smell, which it doesn't smell good, but but like just natural outdoor smells, our bodies react to it in a very positive way. So to answer your question, any product that is plant-based versus what is totally synthetically created,
Okay.
that's where you want to go.
Okay.
But some of the categories, the first most known are cleaning products that have bleach and ammonia in it,
Okay.
air fresheners, because like Febreze, those are all synthetic fragrances. Just the other day, there was a commercial on Clorox having a lavender fragrance to it. And I'm going, OMG, yuck. They're not using the regular, beautiful, natural lavender fragrance that comes from maybe a lavender essential oil. It's something that's been created in the lab. Personal care products, again, there's two different types. There are those that are inexpensive, that are very prolific in Safeway and other stores. And yes, there are the more plant-based, but you can go really simple. You don't have to buy the Lancome, the Clinique, the very high end. You can just use go to the farmer's market, and there's like tallow based skin creams and body lotions. And I know there's a beautiful, and then you'd be supporting a woman who's making these products in her home. Antibacterial soaps are really bad because it has things like triclosan in it, things like formaldehyde in it. Just natural soap and warm water is perfectly. We've already gone over the home fragrances, but that you can still have candles in your homes, but it's soy-based candles because those are natural food grade as opposed to anything that is other. Incense is a very important thing to also be aware of. So if you want fragrances in your home, essential oils with a diffuser. I mean, that's very pleasant, but it also can help with like asthma or a cold. There's so many medicinal
Mood. Yeah.
laundry products. There are natural products. I live on a farm, so I have to think about everything going down my 3 drains: bathroom, kitchen, and laundry drains, because it goes into a septic tank into a leach field. And I have to consider, that little stream at the bottom of my property. Now, you may live in a suburb or in an apartment. You still should be aware of where your water goes, because it does all eventually go into the ocean. Pesticides and bug sprays, things like Lysol. I'm diverting here, digressing, but Lysol says disinfectant, but it's really a pesticide. It's an herbicide. But what the companies had to do is change it from pesticide to disinfectant, or we wouldn't have brought it into our homes, right?
Wow.
I know, but some of the ingredients in Lysol are the same ingredients as an Agent Orange that was used to defoliate Vietnam.
Oh my God. All
I
right.
know. My mom used to spray it in the air when we were
I
sick.
know. It's like the
I
real
always say,
hairspray,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
This is to your funniness. Is like, that's why I have my tick.
Exactly. I was just gonna say explains a lot about me.
Yeah.
So I want to get to what every mom wants to know. How do we take care of this? How do we make sense of it? Because you go on the internet and you get like, this is good, this is not good, and then you find out the product you just bought that you thought was good turns out not to be so great.
Yeah.
That's a lot of what happens. So what would be a great first step for them to have you help them with this process and not make it too overwhelming or confusing?
I know that's kind of I think we get analysis paralysis. It's like,
Yeah.
oh my God, I don't even know where to start. So what I suggest where you start is to commit to slowly, the word is slowly, converting your home to a healthier place to live in and breathe in. And that can mean picking a topic like I'm going to switch my cleaning products. And then I'm going to switch the products in my bathroom. And then I'm going to start switching some of the other daily use products. So we could, go slow with it. I would recommend just deciding you're going to use up what you have already in your home, because you're still here, you're not going to go anywhere but it's products that you've already spent money on that you can use. Because in reality, and this is what I did, I went through my whole house and I put everything in a box. And then the person who was encouraging me to to get rid of my product, she says, you can do that, but remember, you just can't put all those items in the garbage. You have to take it to a hazardous waste dump because they are poison.
Wow.
Oh my God. So again, just realization is important. Commitment is important. And you can do it over time. And that's what I do. I have a business called Simply Green and Healthy Home. And I offer healthy home audits so that the person who has decided and committed to, I'm going to start this, that we can go through together and create a plan that could take a year. And that's okay. But it's so, but then to answer your question, what products to use? Well, there's all kinds of plant-based products out there. You can start by making them yourself. Now, some women do that.
Yeah,
I don't necessarily want to do
I think
that.
I tried to do that and then I got
Yeah,
tired really quickly.
I
And it
know.
didn't maybe work as well as I thought. And then
Yeah, they don't. I mean, vinegar and water I was using for a while. Then my house smelled like a salad, and I didn't like that.
yeah, you know, like that.
So there are companies out there, and we can go through different brands, different price points. We can go through that, and so there are options out there, and there are even companies out there that have a full like many product lines
Yeah.
that again you can slowly switch out products as you use them up in your home.
Awesome. And I would assume that in this audit also you help moms figure out the best deal for them and all that stuff.
Yes, yes, because I've been doing this type of research for a very long time. And I found an online shopping club that I use that has offered me home delivery. It's affordable, and they're made here in the US. So I feel comfortable with that, knowing that the quality control is very, very much uh, um, standard, and even it's even higher quality. Their standards are usually European quality standards, which are a lot higher than
More advanced,
yeah,
compared to our
yeah.
standards.
And I feel very comfortable with this company. It's helped myself and my family detox all of our products in our home, and now my children have are also shopping from the same shopping club, and so it's one of the many alternatives that we talk about.
Awesome. All right. So I'm excited for anyone who didn't know this information or kind of knew about it, but was avoiding or putting off trying to make a change because they were confused, because now they can go to you and have this audit and figure out where to
Yes.
start. And then you can guide them, which I think we all need, frankly.
Thank you.
Tina,
Yes, I'm more than happy to do that.
thank you so much for decrapifying your house
Yeah.
in terms of the products. And then and moms, if you're part of the Calm Mom Alliance, you can meet Tina and a whole host of other people that can uncrapify your life, if you will.
Mhm.
It's food, thoughts, beliefs, products, your finances, whatever is going on. But thank you so much, Tina, for being here. And we'll put your information in the either in the description and below. And I hope women take you up on this audit, because it sounds like a great deal.
I hope so too, because not knowing is the scary part.
Yeah.
Knowing gives you a path, and that's what I love to do. And decrapifying your home by simply switching out products will make a huge difference in your health, your life, and your families. I can
And it
guarantee.
doesn't have to be too
No.
complicated or overwhelming. You're going to make it easier for them. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Rita.
I'll see you soon. Bye, guys.